E siamo in diretta. Buonasera a tutti, qui Andrea del team Racoon e benvenuti al consueto appuntamento con la Motel Racoon interview della settimana. Oggi saremo, come posso dire, saremo ben lieti di dare il benvenuto a un'artista americana molto particolare, MØAA all'anagrafe Jancy Rae, from Seattle, e quindi terra di musica, terra, perché no, anche di caffè, grazie a Starbucks, e ci racconterà il suo album. Siamo qui, non siamo alla Motel Racoon solita, siamo in un'altra location, ma quello che conta alla fine, signori, è sempre la nostra filosofia, sostenibilità, grande design, grandi loghi, grandi divertimenti e tanta musica. Jancy Rae, quindi MØAA, è un'artista di Seattle che è uscita da poco con il suo primo lavoro, Euphoric Recall, un lavoro molto particolare, ma sarà lei ovviamente a spiegarcelo e a raccontarcelo. Sta a Venezia la ragazza, pensate un po', è di Seattle ma è una di quelle americani che poi ha detto perché no, io me ne sto molto meglio a Venezia, me ne sto molto meglio in Italia. Quindi il suo album avrà atmosfere americane, avrà atmosfere italiane? Chi può dirlo? Vedremo in questa lunghissima chiacchierata che ci accompagnerà poi all'ora di cena. La ragazza è stata prodotta da Andrea Volpato a Venezia e ha completato di fatto il proprio album appunto nella città lagunare, e l'album è uscito ad aprile, sta discutendo un buon consenso ed è uscito per l'etichetta italo-americana We Never Been Boring. E non so bene come approcciarmi a questo album se non aiutandomi grazie a Jancy Rae, che invitiamo subito. Diamo un attimo alla connessione per fare il proprio lavoro e siamo qui con Jancy Rae. Here we are, Jancy. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How about you? How are you over there?
We're good. Yeah, it's good. Good day. Good day so
Good
far.
day. Good day so far. But the best part of the day is going to be this interview, right? You're
Yes.
pretty
Yes.
much looking forward to it. I knew it.
Yeah. All
Okay,
day. All last night.
all day. So you're getting prepared.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're ready. And I would like you to introduce yourself a little bit to our audience. Like, what does your name mean? When and what your project involves, and so just introduce yourself
Yeah.
so that the audience knows it.
Sh- sure. The project is called MOA. That's how it's pronounced. It's like an abstract name, not really, doesn't have a defined meaning. I initially came up with that name just because I was interested in a particular gene that was involved with like aggression and fighting, and there's a lot of details behind this gene. It's called the warrior gene, like that's what it's known as. And it just resonated with me, so I picked that. But I rearranged the lettering. The real gene is MAO-A, but I liked the sound of MOA better, just the way it sounded. It's like more of like a tribal sound almost. And so that's why I picked it. But I started the project before I selected the name, of course. So initially it was just me writing for therapeutic reasons to try to,
Okay.
work through
We will
stuff.
get it. We will get it later. But I was introducing you before before like you joined the chat, and I was telling our audience that you moved. I mean, you're from Seattle, so like one of the most important music cities maybe in the world, and then you moved to Venice, which is quite common for American citizens, but not common
Hmm.
for American musicians. So
Hmm.
how did this, let's say, relocation happen, when it happened, and how, if any, influenced your project in terms of music,
Hmm.
in terms of atmospheres?
Yeah, I started demoing. Most of it was written in Seattle, the demos themselves. But then I came over here, and most of the sound, I would say, that is in the record that comes from this area. You know, the Venice area is from Andrea Volpato, who was the one who produced the record. So I brought the demos here, and he produced the whole album. And then he co-wrote 2 songs, X Marks and Flashlight. And yeah, we actually wrote X Marks, though, in Seattle when he was in Seattle. So most of it was demoed out, I would say, over in Seattle. But his sound, or the way I kind of had an idea of the sound I wanted in the demos. It was there with the bass and the guitar and the synth and everything and the effects. And then he was the one that kind of polished it all. Yeah.
Okay, so we can say that it has some Venice flavor, Venetian flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, it has some. He's Venetian, so yeah, definitely.
Okay. Okay, great. And so your album, which is pretty nice, Euphoric Recall, has these atmospheres that, as you say, are defined by Seattle and at the same time by Venice as well. But it has this, how do I say, this light that goes through darks and comes through dark. And you came up with the album, as you said, in a particular harsh times, which was 2020. So this album with these atmospheres and this album with this cover with dark and light had something to do with the period of time we were going through as a human beings.
Yeah, it's hard to analyze it for me because it was very subconscious, the decision for that artwork. I took that photo, I manipulated that photo, but looking back at it, I can kind of see it has a bit of the, like you said, a darkness, and then it has the light kind of trying to penetrate through, which maybe matches the music in some ways. Some friends I shared demos with early on. One particular friend said that he always felt like all the songs had a lot of darkness, but then like a little bit of hope, always just a little tiny bit of hope in all those melodies. Yeah.
Okay, so hope is what we're asking for right now, I think. And
yeah.
And connecting to the dark and related to the dark, there's this Night Vision, which is your single. And Eduardo told me, and I actually read it, that you are also the director of this of your single. Yeah. So how does it happen to be also you're the director of yourself? So how does it?
Yeah. It makes sense in a way, just chronologically, because the song was the idea behind the video was basically influenced by also the idea behind the song and the lyrics behind the song, everything. That song was all about experiences I had going through Utah and Nevada, driving through parts of America, kind of desert areas, late at night for long hours, just long hours of driving. And I started kind of hallucinating after driving for so long. Hallucinating so much so, I mean, it was like, sometimes 17 hours of driving straight. So it was very extreme. And so I started seeing kind of like demons coming up against the windows and just slapping themselves. I mean, it was very vivid and very intense, the hallucinations. And so, yeah, that song kind of was inspired by those doing multiple drives like that. And so I brought that idea. That idea. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, the idea. Then I brought it to a director and editor here, Alice Lorenzon. She's with Blau Production, and I brought it to her, and yeah, she immediately understood what I was going for. I also had kind of a mood board, like a visual board, to say like this is the kind of effect as well that I'm looking for. So yeah.
Wow. So multiple drives, we say that lead, as you told, to great singles. So maybe somebody should drive a lot and then come up with some singles good as this. Wow, that's a nice notion too. So we can say
Yeah.
that, yeah, I was thinking about it, and we can say that we share a friend in common, which is Eduardo, and he's the boss of Edu Racoon, as our audience knows it very well and knows him very well. So can you please tell us a story about
You actually broke up there, so I didn't catch what you said. Can you? I heard the Eduardo, he's our mutual friend, but then I couldn't hear what you said
Oh,
after that.
so sorry. So we share, we can say we share a friend in common. I was telling our audience with Eduardo, and he is the owner and the boss and the great master behind Edu Racoon. And he told me that he saw you in Lisbon performing at, let's say, a concert, I think, and he was super impressed by your abilities live performing. So can you tell us about your idea of what a performance should be and on a live performance should be and how important a performance is to you?
Yeah, I initially, like at the beginning of this project, I was so focused on only writing the music and recording the music, and I was not even going as far as thinking the live part as much. But then Andrea kind of actually helped motivate some of that and encourage that as well. And yeah, it's so far it's not been very, we haven't like thought out this is the way it should be. Besides, we want atmosphere, we want it to match the sound, you know, what the show looks like when it comes to lighting and everything to kind of match the sound. But with regards to how we perform, it's very intuitive and just coming from our way of engaging with the music. And they both, the live bass player, Gianluca, and Andrea both really understand the essence, I would say, behind, yeah, all the songs.
Okay, wow. So, and did you like Lisbon, by the way?
Yeah, it was cool. I got to learn thank you, obrigado. I was
Obrigado.
practicing that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that Eduardo practices too because he got back from Lisbon and just talking in Portuguese. I mean, just talking in Portuguese, trying to say obrigado. I think so. It's something that you guys had to do over there in order to be able to communicate with the locals. But yeah, Lisbon is
Right.
magic. And by the way, so you're from Seattle, as we told, is one of the most important music cities in the US, but it has a strong, let's say, natural elements over there because you're in the Northwest in the United States, so lots of forests, lots of rivers and coastlines. And I read that you actually wrote your songs and mainly the album in nearby a forest, right? I mean, or at least trying to keep in contact with the nature and natural elements. So how did these natural elements influence your music? And
Yeah, I honestly, I was living out near a forested town, basically, because Seattle, I mean, is very much a city, and then you move east, you start getting a lot of trees. So I was living in that environment, which, yeah, definitely helped me connect kind of to the atmosphere of what the album was turning into, I would say, when I was writing the demos. Um, but yeah, my connection to nature is kind of strange, I would say, though, in general, because I love the city, but I also am not someone who likes gardening or anything. I don't like to keep a garden, and I've killed a lot of plants in my time. A lot of plants have died with me taking care of them. So I love nature, though, when it comes to the artistic element. It's very inspiring for me. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, you're a musician, you're not a gardener, so do no
Yeah.
need to. apologize, don't worry.
Mm-mm.
But this leads me actually to another, I'm not saying consideration, but another question. So you moved from Seattle, so you left Seattle and you moved to Venice, which is for sure one of the most impacted cities in terms of the changing climate and all these natural disasters and the weather that is changing. So, do you feel that you Americans have a different approach to natural elements within this climate change situation and
Mm-hmm.
picture?
Yeah, I think that in America, what I can say is that they're very paperless. They're very good at going paperless. No, everything's going online, so that helps a lot, like reducing the amount of drives required to go to doctor visits or something like that. The systems are more integrated electronically. Um, but yeah, capitalism maybe gets in the way of some other improvements that could be made, because that's even people who are maybe proactive with caring about, they're caring about the planet, they care, but maybe capitalism is so integrated into the culture in America that it gets in the way of other advancements they could be making.
Mm-hmm. Instead, in Italy, you find more, I don't know, a different approach to it, a different knowledge
Hmm.
about it, a different, I don't know, tell us about
Yeah.
your feelings towards it as a stranger living in Italy.
Yeah, it's different for sure. It's taken maybe a bit more seriously here. I'm not an expert. I've heard different things, different pieces,
Mm-hmm.
like that there's certain cars that you can or cannot drive, which is smart. Some of them are gas guzzlers, is what we call them in America. But in America, you can drive whatever you want, regardless of the efficiency. And also here, I did learn that they have, yeah, different class of energy classes for different home appliances and stuff like that. And so it's a lot more of a conscious effort, it seems like, in Europe, or Italy in Europe. Yeah.
So you're feeling right now is that we are trying to make other, let's say, average people. I'm not saying average people, but ordinary people more aware of this ongoing situation, which is terrible, by the way. Rather
Mm-hmm.
like you have the sustainable, I don't know, pro life movement or the, I don't know, the other parties. It's maybe more complex in America talking about
Right.
this.
Yeah. Right. There's a lot of complexities. It's hard to, yeah, to pretend like I would know the best answer. That's really how I feel about it. I recognize that it is complex. I think I can have my own opinions about it. Like I watched a documentary from David Attenborough that was on
Mhm.
Netflix, released a year ago, that really affected me. And he demonstrated what it would be like, 2050 and 2080, because the planet is getting hotter. So he really, yeah, he outlines what it's most likely going to be like. And that made me kind of wake up. He talked about population issues as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're a fan.
So,
You're a big fan. You're a big fan of David Attenborough, and I am a big fan as
yeah.
well. I love this. I love that documentary. I love the documentary about made by DiCaprio as well about the climatic
Mm.
change, and it
Oh.
was heartbreaking as
Mm.
well. Heartbreaking for sure.
Okay. I haven't seen that
And
one. Yeah.
yeah, it was devastating. So if you wanted
Mm.
to get very sad, if you want to get a super sad mood, just watch it,
Hmm.
and you'll get super sad.
Perfect.
So it really,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes some points. But
Hmm.
and what about your life in Venice? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a different life. It's definitely a great place to focus on creative pursuits. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm able to write, focus on writing. we have a new single coming soon. So
Okay, okay,
yeah,
great, great.
lots of
So
things. Yeah.
what can we expect from you besides still living in Venice, which
Mhm.
you can tell, I mean, you're super happy with your life in Venice. So we'll have to expect a single, and then what
Yeah.
next?
There'll be another tour announcement for the spring, probably.
No spoilers, don't worry about it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, no,
Just-
we'll say it eventually. Yeah.
Okay, okay, great.
Yeah.
Just some hints on your future. Okay, so more things to come. So 2022 is going to be a great year,
Yeah.
hopefully, of course, for a human being, for human race, and for you as well, for your project. And
Hmm.
hopefully you'll be able to, I don't know, you want to hope tour everywhere, everywhere in Italy as well, everywhere in Europe, hopefully if you're allowed to. But
Yeah.
so, and okay, and still in Venice, or you want to move to Seattle in 2022?
It's kind of like I live in both places essentially. So it's not like one versus the other, I
Okay,
would say. Hmm.
okay, it's more like a connection, just like your album, right?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so a connection in everyday life and connection in music. So it sounds super great, and it's really the face of 2021, connection. Okay,
Mhm.
so thank you, Moa, for joining us. It was super amazing to meet you. It was my pleasure. And enjoy Venice and enjoy your singles. And we're pretty much looking forward to hearing you again.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for. Bye. Ciao, Moa.
Bye. Bye. Ciao. Ciao.